people are facing chaos and anxiety like never before. It's almost like we've finished the pandemic of COVID. Now we're into this pandemic of anxiety and chaos. One of the things I've been talking to people about is like taking a deep breath, stepping back, and getting outside of their situation, looking in so that they can build a plan for how to go through that process.
They don't know how to do that pause. They don't know how to take that breath and let whatever is going on in the moment just sit for a bit and let their brain work on how to solve the problem.
They've been isolated so much. Now they've come out of COVID, but they're still like learning how to live outside. And so there's that struggle that's going on. And as you're saying, it's like when you're in it, that's so hard for them to find solutions. Sometimes you have to take that step back.
Yeah.
And that's what we're telling them. Let's take a step back here and see what's going on so that we can find the answer, find the solutions to help you overcome whatever you're facing.
I think sometimes, too, it points to the fact of just taking a moment for yourself, because self-care is so important in this time that we're in right now. Of if you're dealing with anxiety, like, you've got to breathe. You've got to take time to be able to, like, do something that you like, do something that you enjoy, spend some time doing that to kind of like a reset of who they are as an individual. Like, I enjoy this. I'm going to step into this right now.
And it's not just anxiety. It's like life chaos.
Right. Yeah.
I was just talking to a client the other day, and part of her business is that she needs to market and connect and communicate with her network, with people. And she's like, I'm just so busy. And so it was like all of this stuff was just so overwhelming. Well, that's a vicious circle, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't market, you don't have clients, you don't have business, you don't market, right? It's this.
You feel more chaotic.
And you feel more chaotic because, oh my God, I've got a financial problem on top of right? I just worked with her and I said, okay, we're going to take a deep breath and we're going to block out 1 hour bits of time through the week.
Yep.
Where we can do the one thing.
Yeah.
What's the one thing we can do consistently? And here's the other thing. I told her, we're going to plan it on Sunday. Because if it doesn't get planned, people that are working in this chaotic environment, if it's a thought, I got to come up with what to do in the moment, it's never going to happen. I was working with her saying on Sunday, we're going to think about the 4 or 5 things we're going to do this week, and then we're going to plan it. What I found is that when people do that, the chaos comes down. Yeah. Because now they're moving forward.
They're getting a win.
Yes.
When they're not seeing any win, and doing that one thing builds their confidence and it gives them a win. Yeah. And one win can lead to another win.
Will lead to another win.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so amazing how people, like you said, they're like in this chaos that is just they can't move forward. And it's because things look too dark and it looks too overwhelming, and the brain can't process that without some force coming in and saying, let's break it down.
And that pause helps them to realize if they think about it well, it helps them to realize that bomb that's going off in front of them really isn't as bad as it looks like it is.
Yeah, I remember back when I was leading sales teams, it was the same thing, right? So you give these annual sales objectives. And that number was so overwhelming and so big and so daunting that the salespeople would like look at it and just freeze. Yeah. And so that's where it developed the mentality of breaking a sales goal down to its least common denominator. Like how many do you have to do a month? How much do you have to do a week? How much do you have to do a day? It's because people can handle those bite-sized pieces of information and goals as they move forward. That big, daunting task that's in front of you is only big because you're looking at the whole thing.
Yeah. And there's 2 things that is so important that we take it for granted or we don't give any attention to is self-awareness and evaluating.
Yeah.
You know, just self-awareness is like, where am I at? What's going on? And taking the time to evaluate what's going on. Let's evaluate the situation. It's like a checkbook, right? We got to have the checkbook that tells you what's really going on in your bank account. If you don't have the checkbook, you're just everywhere. I do that to myself as well in my own life, with my marriage at home. Just being self-awareness and evaluate, and you will find tools. You will find solutions. It's all within you. Yeah.
And that awareness allows us to recognize how I'm going to respond when I'm faced with this particular situation. Yeah. Without that awareness, it's just jumping into a lion's den.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're talking about this like this is easy to do.
Like, exactly.
Like oh, no problem. Just make a plan. Just be aware. Like it's so And it's not. It's why like we partner with people to walk this, because like even us, I know we hold each other accountable.
Yeah,
for.
so true.
I just came through a moment of utter chaos and stress, and having you guys, your voice in my ear going, Eric, it's going to be okay. It's one step at a time. You've got the talent, you've got the resource. It's why we need each other and why we need accountability. Like somebody looking at it from a different perspective and walking us through.
I was just talking to somebody today. He's like, you're not meant to do life alone.
Yeah.
No.
You were not created to do life alone. You were created for a relationship. You were created for collaboration, networking, and just having somebody walk alongside with you, give a different perspective.
Yeah.
Showing your blind spots or seeing what you're not seeing just adds value, so that helps you to move forward to the direction you want to go.
Yeah.
But we're brought up believing that we're not supposed to ask for help, or we shouldn't need help.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we all need cheerleaders.
Well, what's that?
We all need cheerleaders.
We all need cheerleaders. We need cheerleaders.
You can't do it alone.
Yeah,
like you need
not.
someone running alongside of you that's like, you got this. Go, Jim, go.
In Vision Blockers, I talk about those people that are highly successful have three main people in their life: a trusted advisor, an accountability partner, and a cheerleader. If you're going through moments of chaos and you don't have those three people, it's going to be harder to navigate.
Yeah.
And I was going to tell you just a second ago, based on your comment, that I think something, and I hope you don't think this is the wrong way, but your generation was raised very specifically not to ask for help. And what we're finding is that the younger generation that we're coaching asks for help of the wrong people. So they've been coached to ask and not to be afraid to engage people. They're just not asking the right people.
And it needs to be somebody that wants the best for you, that believes in you.
Yep.
They're not going to impose what they think on
And,
you.
and someone who's willing to tell you the truth.
Yeah, exactly right.
Somebody
Yeah,
who's willing to say, hey, bro, you're messing up.
Yeah. Not telling you what makes you feel good.
That's right.
But tells
That's right.
you, it's like, this is what you need to do the hard stuff.
Well, and not everybody can do that. I mean, I'm sure you guys have found that. Not everybody has the capacity. Some people just don't want to hurt feelings.
Right.
Like, I kind of enjoy it a little. But
I think we've noticed that.
have you noticed that about me? I mean, I'm not afraid. Like,
But
Just say it as it is.
I just tell it.
That is part of what makes you more trustworthy too. Because if you tell the truth, you're trustworthy. If you just go along, people will not really get close to you.
I have heard throughout my entire life, I've made stupid mistakes, and people go, I was going to tell you that.
You're like, thanks.
Well, why didn't you?
Yeah.
Like what the? Like, I mean, did I have a sign up say no advice here? I mean, like what?
Yeah.
Like, why you wait until I'm like skin my knees?
Yeah.
I mean,
We talked earlier about taking the step, taking the pause, but just really thinking through what you're doing. And then as you find those people in your life, being willing to hear what they have to say.
yeah.
I think sometimes that's a hard part. Like you might have the advisor and the accountability person and the cheerleader in your life, but are you willing to actually listen to what they say? Because you've chosen those people for a reason.
Absolutely.
And there's a level of trust that's built with them, but take the feedback.
Yeah. My first mentor was a guy named Mike Stone, and I talk about him in my book. He was a banker. I literally invited him over to dinner, and I sat him down, and he goes, he had an enjoyable time, and I said, listen, I want to ask something of you, and it's going to be work. And he's like, what's that? And I go, I want you to be my mentor and accountability partner. I want to do what you do. I want to go where you've gone, and I want you to speak into my life and tell me how to get there.
Yeah.
And he was like, no one's ever asked me that before. And I said, well, I'm serious about this. That man has been invaluable in my career.
That's so good.
Invaluable. His words of wisdom. I was going to go to work for one financial institution. I called him up and he goes, Eric, listen, I know you. You can do anything you want to do and you can do it well. These are 3 reasons why you shouldn't go there. And I was like, what? And I didn't. I mean, it saved me years of chaos and heartache.
That's so good. That's really important, right? So many times we're waiting for people to come to us, but how bad do you want it?
Yep.
You have to go find them.
Absolutely.
You have to go find them. You have to reach out to them. You got to pull it out.
Take that risk.
Yeah.
Because until you go and ask, they won't know.
Yeah.
And that's a mistake that I've made
Yeah.
many times where I've just been waiting for people to come because I thought, they're inconvenience, all that stuff, and also my own insecurities. But I had to push through that, and I sat down with coffee and I said, "Could you mentor me?" And they're like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
So love to do it.
Such a rich relationship when that happens. It saves us so much heartache. People need to start asking for that help. Like
Yes.
especially now, we're in a critical moment. Like we're on the verge of a recessionary period. Some would argue it already started or started a year ago. We haven't really seen the full effects of what I think is going to happen maybe even next year or beginning of the following year. I think we're going to see a pretty difficult time. Maybe not 08, 09, 10 level, but possibly.
Yeah.
But I know that we've what goes up comes down. And we're in that downward slope. It is going to get challenging, you guys. It's going to get difficult for people to figure out things financially, emotionally, spiritually, relationally. And people need that as they go into that season, be prepared. We need to be prepared for how to help people navigate when they call you and go, I don't have a job. What do I do? I don't, I'm losing my relationship. What do I do?
Humble yourself.
It's reach out, right?
Yeah.
It's
Humble
reach out.
yourself. Reach out. And there is help.
Yeah.
There is help.
When the beauty about this group is that we have a lot of resources to pull from, and people that can be helped in one way. There's somebody there that's waiting to talk, but there's somebody else that has to come from a different angle. There's another one of us is ready to step up.
And
I love the networking. There's been clients of mine that I've met with where I've pulled Jeshu in on certain things because I know he's more gifted in that area or he has more experience than I do. So it's like, hey, there's no reason why we can't all contribute towards one another because we're here to help people. And the best way we can help them is by pulling in people that know the right things for the right seasons, for the right times.
one of the things I mentioned that during the season things are going to get challenging is relationships are going to be it's going to be difficult for people. I'm seeing that already. Like Sandra and I have another couple of couples that are reaching out for help. I'd say that five
Couple of
times really
couples,
fast. Couple
yeah.
of couples.
Yeah.
Say that really fast. And it's hard. People aren't communicating. The relationships are getting difficult for people to navigate. I spoke to somebody over the weekend that 20 something years in and they're struggling.
Yeah.
And so I think one of the things that's powerful about what we do and our perspective is teaching them to get tools
Yep.
to communicate and to fall back in love and to date each other and not let the things that aren't the thing be the thing, right? Focus it in on the real things.
Yeah, totally. And a lot of them, they deal with their own fears. Especially it's like, oh, if I share this, is it going to create fear? And all that, so they shut off.
And their judgments too. Couples, I know that we've gone through this at times, or I've gone through this with my wife, but where we might get stuck in a place where she does something, I react, I do something, she reacts, and then that cycle just goes stronger and stronger and stronger. And it takes that somebody willing to say, let's sit down and talk. Let's work through this.
Yeah.
And it's important to talk about your fears. That's what we're seeing is like there's some, especially men.
Yeah.
They don't want to talk about their fears because it's like it's weakness, for them to talk. They want to talk about their victories but not their struggles. But that's what we're getting is like with husbands and men is like, talk about your fears. I need to know, expose them so that we can
Jeshu,
find.
are you finding, and I know you guys, I know the answer to this question already because I know I'm facing it. With women, we're the wives.
Yep.
We're finding situations where there are unrealistic expectations of him, right? And then with him, it's like one line or one word response. That's the communication that they get. So they don't know how to deal with these expectations that the wife has. And again, his expectations are unrealistic as well.
They both are.
But she's trying to over communicate, and he's giving dripping answers back.
When oftentimes he's trying to accommodate and give her what she wants, and so feels bad or feels uncomfortable that they can't deliver.
Yeah.
But that also happens because they're dealing with a lot of pain and hurt in a relationship. They are protecting themselves. Those walls are there, so we got to bring those walls down so they can connect. So that's what we're dealing with. Brick by brick, we're breaking those walls down, identifying, where's this coming from? Where's this coming from? Why is this happening here? And diffusing those things, bringing those walls down. So now there's that open connection. They go, oh, I see you. oh, I see you too.
Yeah. It's one of the things we teach religiously in our marriage coaching is the idea of creating safe spaces.
Yes.
And this is true in any relationship,
Yep.
but in a marriage, it's particularly true. There is nothing that is off limits for Sandra and I to talk about.
Yeah.
Nothing. I mean, literally nothing. We are safe
Yeah.
with one another, and so we teach that idea of creating. That's it, because of those unrealistic expectations, right? It gets challenging, but creating those safe spaces allows that person to take a risk.
Yeah.
But one of the things we find is we have to talk them through. We have to coach it because they'll try to create a safe space, and then he'll share, and then she'll say, "Well, that wasn't what I want you to share."
Yeah.
Well, that just violated the whole safe space thing.
No,
Yeah.
this is good. Like when Ed and I were dating, we had conversations like this. You know that book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
And it was like, man, I want you to listen right now.
Yeah.
I don't need an answer. I don't need to fix it, which I think is difficult for guys because if someone's bringing a problem to you, you want to solve it. You want to
Yeah.
fix it.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, we would have ground rules like, hey, I just need to talk. I need to get some things out. I don't need you to have an answer for me. I know that's going to be difficult, but I just really need to because women are in their heads a lot.
Yeah.
Oh,
We
man.
have
Yeah.
so much going on up here. Like people talk about the computer screen where like everything's minimized. We've got a million different things going on. Conversations from last week, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you guys are like, I got one thing going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got to solve the problem.
And only one thing at a time going
Yeah.
on. Like
and
it-
for us, it's constantly running. So sometimes just getting the narrative out of our head
Yeah.
helps us realize, hey, I'm really not crazy. I just needed to download it, get it out of there. And then having your spouse listen or having your significant other or having a good friend in your life.
I think it's called mansplaining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so good. So
Yeah.
good.
Totally.
So good.